Hello, everybody. This is Matt from That Matt85 with my buddy Pat, and this is Bearded Reviews. I forget what episode we're on, but I don't really need to announce which episode we're doing each time. So today we have a couple of things. We got actors that we typecast ourselves in our own minds, and we have, as usual, a couple of movie reviews, and we've been doing a good job of keeping them recent too, not just always digging into the past, which is also fine, but with as few movies that come out, we might as well try and hit on those. We'll move in now. We'll go towards our segment today of which actors we like to typecast, and this is kind of in our own mind. Sometimes they're typecasted in general, and sometimes Hollywood sees them in a different way, but there are certain people that I see a certain way, and I can't see them in other roles, even though they've tried. And it also depends on if I've actually seen them in those other roles. So we'll start with one of mine here. The first person that kind of comes to mind for me is probably the one that hit me the hardest was Mike Myers. When I saw him in Inglourious Basterds, I can't see him doing nothing that isn't super goofy, Shrek, Austin Powers kind of thing. And I know he was on Saturday Night Live a lot too, and I know he did a few movies before Austin Powers, but seeing him in Inglourious Basterds, I was just sitting there waiting for him to, crack a joke, become really goofy, or if the joke was that he was being serious, and it was just a small bit part. He played his role. It was serious enough. I was just sitting there looking at Mike Myers, not seeing him as the captain or whatever his role was in that film. So that's the first person that comes to mind for me as being typecasted for me. So next on my list, I want to bring up just to make this interesting. Let's see if I can get her picture up really quick. Melissa McCarthy. So I'm not a huge fan of Melissa McCarthy. What she normally does. In fact, I generally refuse to watch any movie that she's been in. But the movie Can You Ever Forgive Me played a trailer, and I really liked the looks of it. After I really saw the whole trailer, I liked the looks of it. Melissa McCarthy was playing such a different role. And it's kind of weird because in my mind she's typecast as that, just obnoxious, will do anything for a laugh kind of woman, but I liked her a lot better in this serious role. It was a completely serious role. It was somewhat of a funny movie too, but I enjoyed the movie so much, and it's such a different role for her. And I don't know if she's gonna stay that, trying to be more of a serious actress, or if she's going back to her bread and butter. But yeah, I guess in my mind, even though I liked her in the more serious roles, she's kind of typecasted as the silly, do anything for a laugh kind of person, not a serious actress. Okay, so who's next on your list?
I'm gonna go with Keanu Reeves. He is always the underdog hero, even in John Wick, where I don't know if you say he's the underdog, but he's the hero you root for in every single movie. And he's always, it's like to the point now where he's not even playing characters; he's just Keanu Reeves. It's Keanu Reeves in whatever story we threw him in. He's gonna save the day, either as a murderer, hitman, or Ted or Neo. Throw him in anything, he's just gonna save the day, and that's the movie.
That's
the only movie I can think of where that didn't happen is, I think it's called Ronin. Is that the one where he's a samurai?
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I know what you're talking about.
He also dies at the end. Spoiler alert. So that's like the only one I can think of off the top of my head where he doesn't save the day.
Yeah, when I saw that on your list, I was thinking about Keanu Reeves myself, and I was like, that is kind of true. He's definitely fits one type of actor for me, and that's what he's doing now. But I was also thinking about how he's in, because we were talking about this last week, how he's in Bill and Ted 3, and it doesn't seem right. It just seems like Keanu Reeves there. It doesn't seem like his role. I was like, but I still see him as in that role too. So like if I guess it's kind of like if I watch his old stuff, that's fine, and I can't see him when he was young doing serious stuff. But if I watch him as he's older, I can't see him doing goofy stuff. So I'm right there with you. Next up for me, I have. Let's see. Let's go with Danny Trejo. If I can get his picture up here.
Machete.
Yeah.
Machete.
He's obviously, and for very obvious reasons, he's a very, very serious, badass actor. He's done a few goofy things though, and that's half of what makes it so funny is that he does some goofy stuff when you don't expect him to be that way. So like he was in the Muppet movie. He was also, I mean, he's done a few commercials lately too, where he's kind of not the menacing mean dude. He's just kind of goofy. And I don't dislike him either way, but I can't see him not being a serious action badass, you know?
Yeah. Was he the villain in the Muppet movie?
No, he was just one of the prisoners that went, like Kermit goes to jail, and he was one of the prisoners that was in there with him.
Okay. Yeah.
Who was?
That's the second Muppet movie, right?
Yes, it was. The bad guy was what's his name? The dude that does the Golden Globes all the time.
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, Gervais was the bad guy in that film.
Okay. I was just curious because one of the things I like about Danny Trejo is he played the bad guy in a lot of those movies, but he also had a past with his prison record and a criminal past.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make sure that kids don't look up to the bad guy, and he's very morally conscious. So he always said if he's going to play the bad guy in a movie, he has to die.
Interesting.
And I always thought that was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, you're right about that. He just has that look. You look at him and you're just like scared crapless. Like,
it's very true.
He's this big dude. He's got that facial hair that adds to it.
Yes.
He just looks like a big biker who would just beat you to death if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's hard to not see him that way.
But he also seems like the sweetest dude too. So it's just
in real life for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, who you got next?
We're gonna go with Nicole Kidman next. I have never seen Nicole Kidman play a role that she wasn't a bitch in. She is the go-to for that. Sometimes it's really, to me, even when she's not supposed to be the bitch, she's a bitch in those movies to me because maybe I know her from different roles and stuff. But I would say Margot at the Wedding is the bitchiest she's ever been. It's probably her best work. She's fantastic in that. That's a hard movie to watch because literally the only likable characters are the children, and even they're kind of dicks. But like, it's a fun movie. But yeah, I've never seen her. Like, I just can't see her in the role of a nice, decent person. She always seems to play a bitch.
I know I've seen Nicole Kidman movies, but she's never been somebody I cared enough about to notice exactly what's going on. So I can't even comment on. Yeah, I can't even comment. Like it's one of those people I just don't pay attention to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with let's go with Elijah Wood for me. He looks. I mean, it goes with his looks too, but he goes with a lot of roles where he's kind of like the nerdy, dorky little harmless dude who's trying to be strong and everybody can kind of fall in love with. He's done a few roles otherwise though, such as he was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where he was just kind of like tripping out at a party or whatever, and it was so weird to see.
Oh yeah, no, he does more than trip out. He's a total like creepy douchebag in that movie.
Yes, it was.
It kind of I would say he does some things that it would probably get him too if it was real life right now.
I know. God, what movie was it? A movie that came out the last couple of years about a woman who like got involved with a Hollywood poker ring and got basically took all the trouble. Yeah, Molly's Game.
I just rewatched that recently. Yeah, I just rewatched that recently a few weeks ago.
I can't remember. Was he the one in it, or was he the one that they were alluding to?
No, he might have been the one they were alluding to.
Yeah.
But he was played by Michael Cera.
Okay,
so Michael Cera in that one.
Yeah, I think it was Michael Cera that was supposed to be.
Yeah. He kind of fills that role too.
Yeah. it was so weird though. Even in Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, it was weird seeing him in that role. Like I couldn't not see Frodo. So in my mind, he's typecasted as Frodo.
Frodo was stealing panties and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's something that's actually one of my favorite Elijah Wood roles. I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's a classic for me. That might be my favorite.
I know you and John love it.
Story of all time.
I gotta be honest, I save this for a different time maybe, but just in short, I didn't hate it. I just thought it was so pretentious.
I can see that.
Personally, I thought it was well done, well acted, and everything. It came off to me as pretentious more than honest.
Yeah, I can see that.
But anyways, we're gonna move on to your next one.
Okay. Hold on a second.
I can tell you one of yours if you want.
No, I got it. I'm gonna go with Christopher Walken.
Okay.
I can't There's been a few times where they have him play somebody who's not batshit crazy, but that seems to be his MO.
Yes.
Like even in Wedding Crashers, it like comes out like it's not supposed to. He's supposed to be like the calm senator who's like normal and very relaxed, and he's like the character he's playing is it kind of comes off that way, but like the craziness just comes out. That's just his look, his talk, his vibe. Like to me, I can't see. Whenever they try to have him play somebody normal, it just never works.
Yes.
He's always gotta be sort of deranged, and he always comes off like he's 5 seconds away from just cracking your neck.
Yes, he does. He comes off that way even when he's not supposed to. And I know, I watched. It was Balls of Fury was the movie. I know he's not really playing a serious. I mean, it's not a serious movie, but
not at all.
He was supposed to be more serious, but he looked again deranged, like he was going to kill somebody any second, and which was fine to go with the movie. I'm just not sure that's how the Emperor of Ping Pong was supposed to come off.
So of the roles he's played where he's somewhat normal, I would say the one that was easiest to accept him as was Catch Me If You Can. But even in that, he's I wouldn't say he's a criminal, but he's kind of a hustler. So there's definitely like not 100% straight guy thing there, but he's mostly just the dad to Leonardo DiCaprio in that.
I forgot he was in that movie. Yes.
Yeah, he's DiCaprio's dad.
Now I think about it, he's married to John Travolta in Hairspray.
I think he got. I actually think he got an Oscar nod for Catch Me If You Can.
Really?
He got a Golden Globe nod. He got one of them. He might have been both.
I have to look that up. That's pretty cool. Because I really like that movie too. I had just forgotten he was in it because Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that kind of overshadow everybody. Amy Adams is in that. Amy Adams is in that too, but that was way before anybody knew who the hell Amy Adams was.
Yeah, I recommend that movie if you haven't seen it. It's a fun movie. It's very fun. We'll both do one more here. I'm gonna go, since I got a few, but I'm gonna pick out. I'm gonna go with. I'm trying to get his. Here we go. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin to me is
always plays an asshole.
Yeah, yes, the asshole character he's been for such a long time.
He is an asshole in real life.
Yes, yeah. It's not very far off, but what's funny is that been a big fan of Beetlejuice for the longest time, and I forget how old I was when I'm like, wait, that's Alec Baldwin? A very different character, a very different person, a very different look because he was so young. And that's just so different from everything he's not everything, but from most of what he's done since then. So yeah, in my mind, like even though I liked him in Beetlejuice, I liked Beetlejuice, in my mind that's not Alec Baldwin. That's just the character he plays instead.
Well, if it makes you feel better, he's dead in that movie. So I mean, Alec Baldwin being dead. Pretty good.
He does die in that. I guess that, yes, I got to see him die in a movie. That's a good way to think about it. We'll do one more for you
The thing
too.
I like with him, the thing I'm going to say, the thing about Adam
Mhm.
Carolla, the thing I like about him is he's definitely an asshole, but he's an asshole who's not afraid to admit, hey, I'm an asshole. I kind of respect that. Still go on SNL and all the time and make fun of himself. Like my favorite one is like when they had Tom Hanks hosting like they're talking about the things they say about Al Barnes, who he's a really stand-up guy. And I'm a really stand-up guy, and then Tom Hanks like, Lauren's back there talking to your wife. That son of a bitch, I'll gut his ass. I like that he's not afraid to play with it. Anyway, give me 1 second.
No problem.
Yeah, okay. My last one, I'm gonna go with James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini, to me, he defined the anti-hero and never escaped Tony Soprano. Pretty much everybody who casted him is outside of that romantic comedy. I think was the last one he did with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Like he's always not only a murderer, but he's always like a smart-ass murderer who nobody likes and everybody is afraid of. He had that bigger than life, the stature and the attitude. And he's one of my favorites. Like Tony Soprano is the greatest. I'm not even gonna say television character. I'm just gonna say Tony Soprano is the greatest character I've ever seen on screen, and he absolutely nailed it. Probably the best, definitely the best TV performance of all time. Maybe the best performance ever for me is his work on The Sopranos. If there's anybody here listening to this who's never seen The Sopranos, if you're quarantined or avoiding all the COVID-19 spikes that are going on, you're looking for something to watch, top of your list, The Sopranos. Mwah. Best thing you could watch, in my opinion. But it's sad that he never really escaped Tony Soprano though, because my God, what an actor! Like,
it may not surprise you, but I have not seen The Sopranos.
yeah, you need to do that.
I'd be interested in it, but
that's one I think you'd really like, because it's not just violence. Like, I know you're not a big fan of just violence for the sake of violence. It's one of the most elaborate and unique stories. Like, there's so much connected to it. All of the characters are used well. There's nobody's wasted. Even the smaller characters, like guys who show up in one episode, like they're given arcs. It's by far the best written show I've ever seen.
it's gotten enough not just good reviews, but enough talk about it that I know that it's a good show for sure. It's not up my alley, so it's just a matter of me finding time to watch it at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that'll wrap it up for our actors that we typecast. We'll have a cool new interesting topic next week when we do the next show. But we're going to move into our reviews and then wrap up. So I'll go first here with Artemis Fowl. So yeah, I was picking out a movie to watch for this show, and Artemis Fowl came out recently. I wasn't too interested in it because I hadn't read the books. I didn't really. I saw the trailer and it didn't look too amazing. And it was a movie that was supposed to be in theaters but skipped and went to Disney Plus. I know part of that is because of the COVID virus, but at the same time, there's all these other movies that are waiting for the theaters, even instead of being released on video on demand. So in my head, I was kind of like, it's just something that they're kind of filling space with. Probably not that amazing. I gotta say, I was definitely pleasantly surprised by it. So, Artemis Fowl, this is directed by Kenneth Branagh. He directed Murder on the Orient Express and Much Ado About Nothing.
And Thor.
Yeah, well, he's directed a lot of things, but he's directed a lot of Shakespeare films too in general.
Mm-hmm.
This is starring Ferdia Shaw. He's the kid, and this is his first major role, or really the first thing he's credited with on IMDb at all. Josh Gad, who's known for Frozen and Beauty and the Beast and a bunch of other Disney properties, Colin Farrell, and Judi Dench, which don't really need explanations. You should know who they are.
Yeah, especially Judi Dench. If you don't know who Judi Dench is, you don't watch movies.
Dame Judi Dench.
Exactly.
So this movie is about a genius kid whose father always, which by the way, Colin Farrell plays the father of Artemis Fowl. So just so you know, and Judi Dench plays kind of like the leader of the fairies. Just so we know who everybody. And Josh Gad plays a troll who has an integral role throughout the film. In fact, it's told through his perspective as he's in jail. So this movie's about a genius kid whose father always seems to be away on business. He's usually at home, and they kind of go over the top with explaining how genius he is. Like, they're saying at the age of 6, he beat the world chess master in 6 moves or some stupid stuff like that. He's usually at home with only his butler and other house staff. He doesn't get along with classmates at school well because they think he's weird and he thinks they're all dumb. One day he learns from the news that there had been an accident and his dad was supposed to be dead, and then also that he was suspected of being in a lot of criminal activity. Well, this is when he starts learning all of the family secrets. He gets a call from a mysterious person who wants a magical artifact that he's supposed to have, and if he gives it to him, then they're going to let his captured dad go. So he finds out that his dad is still alive, not dead, and he wants to do whatever it takes to get his dad out. So with all the family secrets and everything, he starts learning that his dad, who'd always been telling him about magical creatures and stuff, wasn't lying, that it's actually true, and his dad was going around stealing magical artifacts from the different fairies and other magical creatures. So the fairy people then want to start getting involved so that they can get some of their stuff back. And at the same time, Artemis wants to work with them to get the artifact that he needs. So Artemis sets up a trap, is able to get one of the fairies that are trying to invade his house, and threatens to make their kind public if he doesn't get what he needs for his dad. So there's a confrontation between Artemis and the fairy world, where the fairies basically has an army trying to get into his house, but he has traps and stuff to stop them. There's also a side story where the fairies have like a faction that are more dangerous and want to just go to war with the humans instead of hiding, that take over the operation and fail. Artemis ends up working with the fairies to get the artifact they need, which turns out that he had all along. They go to try and give it to the bad guy, and there's kind of like a fight there. They capture the bad guy, they rescue the dad, and all ends well. So that's kind of a recap of the actual story. I was expecting bad things for several different reasons. What I wasn't... Let's see. I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed it, different parts of it. I can see a lot of flaws with it, and I'll get to that. But I enjoyed the stuff like the visuals. They had lots of really cool landscapes and sets because they filmed it in Ireland where it was supposed to be set. They had decent special effects. The soundtrack was really, really, really good. It helped get you in the mood for what was going on. The acting was fun and good from the different actors they had. Even the kid did it. Not on the same level as Judi Dench and Colin Farrell, but did a good job. The characters in general were fun too. They all had quirks about them. Artemis turns from a spoiled brat at the beginning of the movie into somebody that you kind of care about, and seeing that change is kind of part of what drives the movie and helps you care about what's happening in the movie. It's a decent premise too, of kind of introduction into the magical world and somebody who's smart enough to kind of be able to impress everybody that's involved. So overall, the movie was just kind of fun to watch and be a part of. On the bad side, though, you can tell that this was a long book that was cut down for a movie. Overall, the plot was very, very, very rushed. There are plenty of plot holes. There's only about 2 characters that really get time to be fleshed out. Everybody else is just kind of based on the first impressions you get of those characters. There's a lot of unnatural things that happen that just happen because it makes the plot convenient. So yeah, as far as like rushing, they should have spent a bit more time kind of telling you at the beginning all of this different setting, but what it basically does is have a narrator tell you and spends maybe 5 minutes showing you. So it just goes so fast. And just there's so many moments. Like the captured fairy kind of ends up being friends with Artemis Fowl. And that happens over the period of about literally 30 seconds where they're like, I can't trust you, I can't trust anybody, and then Artemis is like, we're friends, and she's like, okay, I trust you now. And it's like, that quick? What the heck? But it's not the type of movie where I would sit there and really think about it too much. I'd rather just have fun watching it and seeing what happens and being surprised by it. I understand that they wouldn't want to because it's hard when you have a big book to make a movie of it, and I've seen this a lot of different times. It's kind of like, what do? Do you cut out a ton of content? But if you do that, then you're kind of going to have like a much simpler film. It might work better as a TV series or just a series in general of however we want to do the series. You don't want it. I know, like, with Lord of the Rings, you can have a series of movies because people know Lord of the Rings well enough to know, like, hey, pay attention for the next one. But with, like, and they already planned to make 3 films of it to begin with. I think with Artemis Fowl, it's not as widely known as Lord of the Rings, and I don't know if they're going to make a second one yet. So you don't want to, if they're not willing to invest in it, then you're going to just have part of a movie, and people are going to be upset. Because I mean, even with the Hobbit movies, after the first movie, people are like, what happens? That's not an ending, and they're mad. Well, they even knew that there was more movies to come. They didn't like that it ended that way, so that's not always the best way to do it. With all that being said, though, I did like the film for what it was. And looking online, because I know a lot of people were giving it bad reviews, looking online at some of the bad reviews. In fact, I just looked at the first 20 reviews on IMDb, and they were all from 1 out of 10 to 3 out of 10. Every single one of them was talking about how they read the book and they were pissed that the movie didn't do the book justice. Well, I haven't read the book, and I don't really care about that. I wasn't expecting a cinematic masterpiece or an award winner. It was just an enjoyable scenes put together into a fast moving, simplistic plot, and I'm okay with that for a Disney Plus original movie. And that'd be my review. So next we'll get to. Oh yeah, thanks for reminding me. I always forget to do that. I would give it 3 out of 5, and that sounds about average, but it's just true. If I was just rating it on specifically, how good of a film it was, it might be a little bit lower than 3 out of 5. But if I was rating it just simply on how much I enjoyed it, it would be higher than 3 out of 5. But you put all that together, and I'm getting, its shortcomings equal out to what I enjoyed about it too. So it ends up averaging out to 3 out of 5. Something that's fun to sit down and watch, especially if you already have Disney Plus. So it's not going to cost you anything extra. But yeah, so you don't have to worry about going out and paying $10 to see it in a movie or anything like that.
See, I don't know anything about this one. I've just heard lots about it. Like, I haven't seen a trailer for it. I didn't even know what it was. But I've heard so many people talking about it, saying it was good. The reviews might be bad for it, but the people I've talked to who watched it liked it. So
yeah, I agree. That's probably how it's going to be, because like
the audiences don't agree very often. So I guess it's not.
That's kind of true too. A lot of times you have people from different perspectives, but like I said, that's what I was getting. A lot of people that hated it. It's because they were huge fans of the books and they needed it to be exactly like the books and even better. And it obviously couldn't live up to that. But if you're not going into it that mindset, I think you can enjoy it very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have your review of The Five Bloods.
All right, on to my review. Today I'm doing Defy Bloods, directed by Spike Lee. Anybody who knows me knows I can't stand Spike Lee as a person. I am not the hugest fan of his work as a filmmaker, but I will admit he has made some good movies. I find a lot of his stuff to be kind of pretentious and uh, um, yeah, I'm just not a big fan of his work. Self-indulgent is the word I was looking for there. But I gotta admit, this is a damn good movie. Before I get into anything, I got one thing I gotta say. Anybody who is looking to get that Best Actor Oscar this year better give up now, because Delroy Lindo is not fucking around this year. Never been nominated, 46-year career. One of the best character actors and most respected character actors. Never gotten that big lead. Never gotten an Oscar nomination. This is his year. If he does not get a nomination this year, it is proof once and for all that the Academy is unbelievably racist. That is the only reason he would be left off. Phenomenal. Um, just tour de force performance from Delroy Lindo here. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the story of the movie. I just don't want to talk about Delroy, though. He is definitely the thing that everybody's going to be talking about once they see this. The Five Bloods is a story about five Marines who fought in Vietnam, who go back to Vietnam to look up, to bring back their friend who died out there while they were out there, and also to find gold that they apparently had heard about. It's the whole point of the movie is them trying to go back out there to not only get that gold, but to kind of exercise the demons that came with their fighting in the Vietnam War. And it's more about brotherhood than anything else. It does have a little bit of a political, just like any Spike Lee movie, it does have some politics in it. But the core of the movie is about the relationship between these four guys and their fallen friend, and also Delroy Lindo's son, who is also along for the trip. Uh, Fantastic movie, very well shot. I'm usually not a big fan of the cinematography in Spike Lee films, but this one is very well shot. It's very well written. It's very well acted. It's just all around a very good film. Uh, it's the only flaw is that I had with it is sometimes is not sometimes there's a big pivotal scene about halfway through the movie that kind of changes the whole dynamic of the movie. And once that scene happens, there's like a 5-minute point where it just kind of feels like chaos. The movie kind of just runs away from itself. It picks back up, it's back in. That little 5-minute gap there is the only reason I don't give this 5 stars. Yeah, this is the best film he's done probably since Malcolm X. This is the second best movie to me behind Malcolm X. I gave Malcolm X 5 stars. I'm gonna give this 5 years. I'm gonna give this 4.5. Like I said, a little 5-minute gap where it kind of just loses the whole. It kind of Spike kind of loses control of the whole story. That's the only flaw in this film to me. And Delroy Lindo, I'm just gonna break down his role here. He plays a black Trump supporter who is kind of like the leader of this group. He's not like the other guys. He's most like the friend who died, played by Chadwick Boseman, who shows up in just flashbacks. And they kind of go into the dynamic between those two, how he basically lost his kind of soulmate, his other half, when that happened. And he's a man who feels like he's had someone on his back his whole life. Someone's been stepping on him or pushing him or something like that. He's a man who feels like he has to get his now or he's never going to get it. He has to get what he has to get what he wants out of life at any means necessary. Nothing's going to stop him. He wants his, which is a big part of the Trump support. And flawless is the best word to describe this. He's a fantastic actor. He's been great in a lot of things. I think my favorite thing of him is his Soul of the Game, where he plays Satchel Paige, which is an HBO original movie. But my God, by far the best work of his career. And like I said, it's early. You're going to see a lot of big Oscar movies come out in October and September, and maybe a little later because of the COVID. But he's going to have competition, that's for sure. But this is the first Oscar performance of the year, like the one people are buzzing about, and it's going to be damn hard to beat. So yeah, overall, I'll give it 4.5 stars. If you like Spike Lee, you're going to like this, and even if you don't like Spike Lee, this is something you should check out because it's very different than his last few films.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be on the Oscar range, I'm probably going to end up seeing it at some point for sure.
Yeah. Good film.
Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. If you're watching, well, yeah, everybody's on YouTube for this because we're not live streaming. If you like this, please give us a thumbs up. It makes a big difference when you give us thumbs up. Leave comments if you want to tell us who are people that you've typecasted in your mind. Let us know what movies you've been watching lately. Put anything down in the comments you want to put down there. And if you like listening to our reviews, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll be alerted whenever we put a new one out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Fuck John Wayne, and good night.